Alright, let's talkathon. Yes indeed, welcome to this thing. We're going to talk about Bumblebee, the movie, not him. Well, not just him. Now, I do hesitate to call this a review because I barely feel qualified to do that. I'm just going to talk about the movie for a bit, like what was good, what I thought, how it made me feel, overall impressions and stuff, you get it. And I'm going to put out two versions of this because I care about you. This is going to be the spoilery one, so expect spoilers like right away. And by spoiler, I don't just mean big plot twists. I'm talking about like anything that wasn't in the trailer, anything that I'd be annoyed if I went in knowing. So if you want to go in completely fresh and unspoiled, then we've got the non-spoilery one over here. You are welcome. So I haven't really talked that much about the Transformers films recently, mainly because I have soured on them considerably. I don't just want to be that guy who's like, oh, Michael Bay's rubbish. I do always have fun at the cinema when they're on, but without that big screen, whoa factor, they're just kind of an aggravating drag. The other week I tried to rewatch Dark of the Moon and I only lasted about 20 minutes. It was just like, why is everyone in this film such a prick? I mean, looking back at my other videos about Transformers 3 and 4, it seems kind of dreamlike. After having rewatched the movies in the meantime, I can't remember what it felt like to be that positive about them. It feels almost like the Transformers movie I wanted in the first place. Really? Age of Extinction? And as for The Last Night, I did kind of enjoy it in a way at the movies, but I couldn't bring myself to do one of these about it. Partly because for a minute there was a whole subgenre of YouTube men looking pained next to Optimus Prime, but mostly because I just couldn't, man. It just got too bizarre, too convoluted, too stupid, too much. So I did kind of a condensed version in the Nitro is Used video and sort of got on with my life. But we're back with Bumblebee and it's a brand new day. I don't know if we're calling it a reboot or like a soft reboot or a prequel. Let's call it a refresh. It really does feel like that. It's like a whole new start. New director, new cast, new attitude, new direction. And it really does have its own energy. Like it does incorporate a lot of stuff from existing Transformers, like it's dripping with G1. But there's also like elements of the live action movies. It just kind of acknowledges them. Lets them sort of stay there and sprinkle in. But like just in a subtle way that doesn't bog it down or make you scratch your head. Pretty much Sector 7 exists. Simmons is there. Something about the Hoover Dam. And the Camaro, and that's it. Bare bones, low level stuff. Like, I don't know if they're saying that all the other movies didn't happen, because this one's set in the 80s, but I think the only stuff they've really retconned out is all that 1940s crap from The Last Night, which nobody liked anyway. It kind of feels like what they're doing with Cyberverse, just like cherry picking all the best bits of existing Transformers and being like, boom, this is generally the Transformers idea. And it does feel like after the last two they got the memo, everyone's sick of these damn movies. They've gone too big, too loud, too far-fetched. Remember Unicron was in the last one. That's not going to work in a film. So they've scaled it all back and just played it completely safe. And as a side effect of that, it does feel a bit more small scale. Like there's no robot dinosaurs, there's no vortex in the sky sucking everything up. No planets colliding. The climax of the movie is a punch up in a harbour. And it was just as, if not more satisfying. Like the budget was only $102 million, which really isn't that much for a movie like this. Less than half the budget of The Last Night and less than a tenth of the headache. It's just, let's bring it back to the core of what people like about Transformers. Autobots, Decepticons, Energon, friendship, knockabout fun and excitement. That's how a Transformers movie should feel. It's fun. It's good, it's nice to watch. So what's the story? It's a very simple story. Basically, Bumblebee comes to Earth from Cybertron because things are bad there. When he lands, he's immediately pursued by the government and the Decepticons, so he goes into hiding. Meanwhile, Charlie Watson is sad. She finds Bumblebee. Oops, he's a space robot, and they make friends and just help each other get where they need to be. And that's what happens in the film. It's so nice. Basically the whirlwind love story of the year between a girl and her space robot, with loads of punching and car chases and stuff blowing up. Brilliant. I mean, it's not Proust, but it doesn't insult your intelligence. It's the good time I'm here for. Cast and characters. So it is an all-new cast, I think, except for Peter Cullen. Like, everybody else is new. All the human cast are new. Nobody comes to mind. I don't think I saw anybody familiar, and that was really nice. It was just like mostly unknowns. I don't know if there are any real standout performances apart from Haley Steinfeld. She was really good. Everyone's just there to do their best and make a good little movie. And broadly speaking, it works. You like them. There's nobody where you're like, oh, get him off, get him off. So who do we have then? We got, yes, Haley Steinfeld as Charlie Watson, the sort of tomboyish sad girl whose life has changed forever by a secret alien robot. You got Agent Burns, played by John Cena, who is just John Cena. Sort of hard-nosed military guy, big tough dude with a jawline. I don't know if he ever has any sort of real yeah moments, but he's always fun to watch. And the only other other major character is Jorge Lindeborg Jr., who plays a lad called Memo, the sidekick and sort of love interest to Charlie. He just kind of walks into the movie about 45 minutes in and just does nothing. I mean, I liked him, I was glad he was there, but he's so useless. Like, it's not even really played for laughs, it's just nothing he does makes any difference. But I didn't mind him. Seemed like a nice kid. Also, at one point, he's reading a GoBots catalogue or something. That's what happened. And that's kind of it for the main cast. I like the scientist guy and the general, and the family was a lot of fun. Like the little brother and the mum are great. The guy at the boat shop, that's kind of it. There's very few people in it, which means they all get a little bit of time to shine. There's no like, I'm Tom Banachek, here I come, literally an hour and 45 minutes into the film. I'm important, I guess. I kind of like that there was no like obnoxious cameos or stunt casting, just a solid cast of working actors getting it done. But what it really said to me was that you can cast all the A-listers you want, you can chuck in all the cinema royalty and art house darlings you fancy. What Transformers really needed all along was a pop singer and a wrestler. And like, I know for a lot of people the human cast are just gonna be getting in the way of the robots, but does anyone watch a film like that anymore? Don't get me wrong, I would love a 2-hour movie set on Cybertron that's all robots and all fighting and all action, but this is the movie we got, alright? These are the films they make on planet Earth, so you can watch it and have fun, or you can just play Fall of Cybertron. Watch Transformers Prime. You know, there's plenty of that kind of stuff. And in any movie like this, we are going to spend a lot of time with the human characters, so it's just nice that they're not all assholes. They seem to like each other. Like, nobody in the other films likes each other. They're always so hostile. I don't need that energy. And I actually did really like Charlie as the main heroine. Like, she's sad and scrappy, she's relatable, but she's also fierce, she's proactive, she does stuff. Like, when did Sam Witwicky ever make a decision? Stuff just kept happening to him. He happened to have the glasses, his dad happened to buy him a car, everyone just pushing him through the film like, you're the hero, you do it. Yes, I have been watching Lindsay Ellis, why do you ask? But Charlie gets it done, man. She's like, I want that beetle, I'm gonna take it home, I'm gonna fix it. Oh, it's an alien robot, I'm gonna make friends with it, I'm gonna help it save the universe. And you're like, yes, Charlie, go get it. And like, she has established skills and character traits that she uses to her advantage, you know, like someone in a movie. Like, did Cade Yeager ever invent his way out of a jam? Yo, what's up, bro? How's it going? You wanna go? I'm an inventor. Charlie uses her skills. And like, even outside of the whole Bumblebee thing, she has things that she wants. She wants to like become her own person and sort of deal with her dad's death and figure things out in her life. And she's in a rough spot and it sucks, so you want it for her. There was even a moment with her about halfway through where I was like, I like had an emotion. Like I felt something at a Transformers movie. Anyway, let's do robots. Robots! So things have changed quite drastically with the robots. They look so cool. They look like how you think Transformers should look. They're so much brighter and more sort of simplified down and so much nicer to look at. Like, these are all things that I said about Age of Extinction, but you still had all the sort of nondescript baddies that kind of melded into a big blob of nothing. And that's another thing I really liked about this movie. Like, there's no generic baddie robots. There's no big swarm of faceless creatures. Roar, get you. Like, that bugs me in every film. Like, the Avengers does it loads. They always have this big faceless army. Thor Ragnarok did it. But in this, there's like 4 robots for most of the film. And they're like distinctive and colourful. You remember which one's which. They're like people. We do take this for granted now, but the visual effects are just flawless. Like, Shatter's face is incredible, and you do buy them as a living creature in the world. It's just seamless. Like, the interactions between the characters, flawless. You totally buy it. Anyway, there's a couple of bits on Cybertron that made me the happiest I've ever been in my life. I legitimately don't think I've been more pleased as an audience member in a cinema than the couple of bits based on Cybertron in this movie. They are only brief, but it's just wall-to-wall pure joy. Like, the world looks how you imagine, like, imagine how Cybertron looks now. That's right. Huge metal towers and swirling landscapes and lights and lasers going beep-boo, beep-boo, beep-boo. Not to keep throwing shade at the Michael Bay movies, but do you remember in the first movie, there's that little scene where they're introducing Megatron and that, and it just looks like a spiky ice wasteland. And you're like, that's not what Cybertron looks like. Even in Dark of the Moon, it's just this dingy mess. But here it's bright and it's alive, and you believe that people could live there. Robots could live there. You know, it's not just a nightmare scape. Buildings and launch pads and streets. You know, streets, do you remember those? Do you know that people need those? But just the fact that there now exists a big budget Hollywood movie with a photorealistic Cybertron that looks how it ought to look. Oh, baby. And there's the Autobots there, the ones you want to see, and they're so cool. They all get a little quip to say. And it is very quick, but they all do something. Oh god, Ratchet is there, Wheeljack, RC, Brawn shows up, Ironhide, Cliffjumper's in it very briefly. And you got Shockwave and Soundwave and Ravage with a new paint job. Like, it looks like Laserbeak's colours, it's a bit strange. And just so many Seekers. I think I saw Skywarp in there. I was delighted to see my boy Skywarp on screen, even though he absolutely ate shit. And like, I have defended the whole Michael Bay designs. I think they have their place. But when you really bring it back to what 6-year-old you wanted to see in that movie you wish had come out when you were 6, this is the one. This is that film. This is the 3 minutes of screen time you've always wanted, and it's glorious. But anyway, actual robots that are in the film. Optimus Prime is wonderful, as he always is. He's only in it relatively briefly, but he spends the whole time kicking ass and dropping wisdom. You just... Optimus Prime, everybody. And his new design is just perfection on screen, because he's big and he's chunky and he's red, and like, I don't know why, but I was really delighted to spot he had the little yellow arrow on his arm. I was like, ah, he's got the yellow arrow. I don't know why that made me so happy. But even when he's just like an Obi-Wan hologram, he's still brilliant. Peter Cullen sounded like he might have been enjoying himself, because in the last one he just sounded so tired and pissed off. But here it seemed like he was having fun. It's gotta be nice to have more to say than, I am Optimus Prime, I will kill you. He's like almost 80, just, you know, let him say something nice and then retire. But the main event is obviously Bumblebee, because it's his movie, and I liked him. They've definitely amped up the whole "aww" angle, and I did kind of buy in. I still don't like his face with his weird round sort of Mac and me ass non-mouth, but overall I do like his new design. He does a lot of transforming, and it's so much more sort of cohesive and cute. It's all sort of Volkswagen bits on the outside. There's no weird sort of techno guts hanging out. Most of the action with him is either like punch-ups or just general teenage hijinks. There's a bit where they TP a house. But when it's time for kicking ass, he do kick that ass. Like I say, I was glad he was the only Autobot for a good stretch of the movie. Like, he could so easily have had a shitty little sidekick. Do you know how happy I was to be watching a Transformers movie without frickin' Drift and Crosshairs in it? What does Crosshairs even do? So for baddies, your main baddies are the two triple changers, Shatter and Dropkick, who kind of spend most of the movie convincing the US government to let them access the satellites, and it's kind of implied that they invent the internet. But they're mainly trying to track down Bumblebee so they can beat him up and get him to tell him where Optimus Prime is, which, you know, it's a pretty standard Saturday morning Decepticon plot, which leads very naturally to double crosses and punch-ups. Perfect. So Shatter's the one in charge, voiced by Angela Bassett. She's marvellous. I love how she plays the government for absolute chumps. Like, at first she's all friendly, like, you have my thanks, friend. But the instant she gets what she wants, she's just like, this does not concern you, human. Dropkick's also great. He's pretty much just Shatter's backup bruiser, and he's such a bastard. Like, when Shatter's doing the whole, greetings, friend, Dropkick's like, are you kidding me with this? Just barely playing along until he gets to punch something. And he has this huge punch-up with Bumblebee at the end, which is far and away the best bit of the film, like action-wise. Plus he's got this gun that like turns people into slime. So gross. Also, on top of there not being like a faceless army of drones, it was just nice that Shatter and Dropkick seemed to be friends. They were on the level, they seemed to enjoy what they were doing and like got on. And it'd be easy to just be like, oh, better than the bloody dreads. But like, they respected each other, they communicated, and they were that much more compelling for it. Whenever they're around, the movie just lights up. It was pretty weird that nobody ever said their names though. I knew who they were because, you know, I'm so deep in the Transformers thing, I've seen all the marketing, I'm aware of the toys. Oh my god, they're Ewoks. And much as I love getting good new Decepticons, they did seem to lack a certain something. Like, they were good, but the fact that there were two of them just made the whole thing seem a bit diluted and unfocused. Like, Shatter's clearly the one in charge, but I mean, as movie villains, because they weren't introduced by name and there were two of them, I couldn't quite get there. There was nobody to really focus on, but I was glad it wasn't just Megatron again. Which brings us to Blitzwing, the fake-out, not Starscream non-entity that got us all mad about nothing. I mean, it was a good scene, mean, but it was only a scene. I guess he was kind of important. Like, he was the guy who did the Bumblebee voice thing and beat him so bad he had to go into hiding. And I do get why they had to kill him, because otherwise he would have killed Bumblebee and there wouldn't have been a movie. But he was just nothing, wasn't he? He was vapor, all bluster, no blitz. And that's why it wasn't Starscream, because he died right away. But why did he look like Starscream, and why did they put him in the trailer? Because marketing. Got us talking, didn't it? Sold us a dummy, didn't they? We ate that up. But yes, I was fully satisfied with all the robots and all the robot action. They looked great, they made my eyes happy, and they didn't turn my brain into shit. Way! Also, seeing G1 Optimus Prime's truck mode at the end, driving on a bridge, was so awesome. And I kind of love that he was driving with Camaro Mode B. It was kind of saying to the audience, see, these things can coexist. Also, I must give a shout out to YouTube's own John Bailey of Honest Trailers fame and My End Slates. Check him out now, voicing actual Transformers in big screen films. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Anyway, let's talk about the action. Because it is an action movie. And yeah, the action scenes are really good. Like, they managed to make really engaging, compelling robot action scenes without tearing down skyscrapers. It was just well shot, pleasantly paced, and like all the combat seemed really well thought out. You could very easily follow who was where, in which direction they're moving, who's punching whom. And like, it was really nice that it was all within the frame. How many times in the other movies does something happen like just up here? Like Optimus Prime's sword goes like zing, and you just don't see what it did, and then everyone's dead. Isn't it bad that like you have to come back to really basic stuff like being able to see what's happening? Even aside from how it was captured, the actual fights seem better thought out. Like, they're doing special moves, they're transforming as an actual part of combat. There's like creative kills, they don't just punch each other through the face. Clever stuff going on. It's so nice. Because the robot characters look so good and they're so well rendered, I feel like every time there's a robot on screen, it feels like an action scene. Even if they're just like hanging out or talking to somebody, you're still like gripped. There's a lot of transforming going on as well. And it's also tight and like beautiful to look at. And one thing I did want to mention about the baddies is because they're both triple changes, they like acquire a car mode and then later on they both separately acquire a different flight mode. And when they transform, they look different. Like Shatter's got jet kibble on her back, Dropkick's got a helicopter cockpit in the belly, and you know, that seems obvious, but I feel like in the other movies they wouldn't have bothered. Like, do you remember when Drift just was a helicopter for 1 second? I don't know, it's just something I noticed. Anyway, we're talking about action, aren't we? It's not all robot action, there's other stuff going on as well, like there's a couple of decent car chases to keep the momentum up, but a lot of it does kind of come out of nowhere. Like, there's one part where they're just driving in the car, and then the army are just there. Oh, look out. And then a bit later on, there's a bit where John Cena blows up a door for no reason. They could very easily just opened it, but they wanted to have that scene where it's dark and smoky and firelit and everyone's, oh, where are you? Oh, my head. They wanted to have that scene, so it's alright. Something else was weird as well, like early on there's a bit where Blitzwing shoots at some army guys and all the jeeps blow up and the guys go, oh, I'm dead now, oh dear. And the similar thing happens later on with Bumblebee when he gets really fed up and he's like, oh, stop it, and just starts blowing up jeeps and that. But because it's Bumblebee and he's a goodie, you see 3 of the 25 army dudes go, ooh, bloody hell. And you're supposed to assume that they all got away. It's the kind of movie where like it's built up so much goodwill that you kind of just let it happen. It's fine. Do you know what? Just enjoy your life. Oh yeah. Speaking of John Cena, there's a bit with him, this doesn't matter, this is just something I noticed. He's in a helicopter, he's like, there, that one, get him. And then he's like, oh, look out. Brace yourself, but there's no one with him in the helicopter. He's the only one in there. I don't know, I just noticed that, it doesn't matter. What else was there? Music! Let's talk about the music, because why not? It's a big part of the sort of story is Charlie loves music and she uses it to communicate with Bumblebee. There's the radio talk thing and all that. So there is a lot of music. It's mostly like 80s jams, all the classics. There's Bon Jovi, Aha. Kind of feel like somebody was trying to get James Roberts' attention, like they were trying to get in his good books. There's like 3 or 4 separate Smith songs, and at one point they even play the Cheers theme. Didn't really notice much score going on, because with the old movies, you know, we dump on them all day long, but the music was some of the best stuff in those films. Ba, 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 ba. Steve Jablonsky did nothing wrong. So in this one, it all felt a bit low impact. There was a couple of moments when I was like, is that from American Beauty? You know, the soft sort of... It was kind of nice that they had a single for the movie again. It's Haley Steinfeld. She's a singer, turns out. It's one of her songs, Back to Life, is it? But it's a nice little feel-good pop song, and that was so welcome, because you all know I love Linkin Park. But when I think song from Transformers, all I can hear is... The humour, a lot of humour in this movie, much more than I was expecting. It's all very sort of kid-friendly and didn't always land, but that just seems like a trend in recent blockbuster movies. Like, you put in way too many jokes, some of them work. Like, there are a couple of bits with John Cena that really made me laugh. Most of the slapstick stuff I could take or leave, but there are a couple of kids further down in the cinema who are absolutely losing their shit, so I was kind of alright with it. I get it, the movie is working. There was one bit that kind of bugged me where somebody barfed and the timing was so bad. Like, there's this huge car chase action scene. Whoa, skid, drive fast, crash, boom, bang, boof. And then there's the everybody all right bit. And this guy's so clearly gonna barf. He's right in the center of the frame. He's going, and it's gonna happen. You're like, just do it. Do the barf. It'll be funny. Go. Because what you want is crash, boom, bang, boof. Somebody goes, everybody all right. Somebody else goes, thumbs up, barf, cut. Or thumbs up, pass out, cut. But in this scene, it's just so laboured and so telegraphed that, like, by the time the barf comes, you're just happy it's over. Sort of like real barfing. But, like, perfect example of how this movie does comedy next to the other ones. Not to harp on, but you gotta do it. It's gotta be said. The Michael Bay films do have a reputation of being, like, really crass and vulgar and super inappropriate. So I was glad not to see any dog humping or lubricating the man moment. Perfect example is the robot in the house scene. Like, there's the scene where Bumblebee is home alone and he's just bouncing around the house trying to interact with stuff and breaking it because he's big. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I broke a thing. Oh no, I fall over. Oh, flipping heck. And it's fun, you know, it's charming. It's just pratfalls and basic whoopsie bang, fall down, go boom moments. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's fine. Something happens within the scene that advances the plot, and it's a giggle. But you compare that to the moment in the first film where they all go to Sam's house and they're all trying to hide, and Optimus goes, oh my bad, and they step on things and the dog does a piss, and Ironhide falls down and they break it, and Jazz goes, oh damn, and the mum's like, are you wanking in there? And it's just noisy and annoying and you can't wait for it to be over. But in Bumblebee, it's just good clean fun, and there's a dog. Cut content! So there was a bit of a scandal last week when it was revealed that they were going to cut a little bit of the film for the UK so it'd get a PG rather than a 12, which just means it'll make more money. And they cut 6 whole seconds and everyone's like, I'm not paying that, I want to see the whole movie. Get a grip. And I don't know in totality what was cut, but there was one moment when it was really obvious. Just after an action scene, Memo rocks up and he's like, oof, you okay? And Charlie looks at him like, oh my god, are you alright? And he goes, yeah. But then they cut to a reverse angle and you can just about see there's this giant gnarly wound on his arm. So I reckon they must have cut the big gross out wound close-up moment. And I reckon it must have been like a laugh moment where she's like, Jesus, are you alright? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Massive injury. But in our version, it's just like, oh, I suppose he's alright then. It just reminded me of that bit in Pacific Rim, you know, when they're driving the robot and they're fighting the monster and the monster sprouts wings and flies into sky and goes almost to space and they kill it and they fall down. All the way down to Earth and they're falling. Oh my god, are they going to die? They're going to die. And then they land, wham! And the guy goes, oof, you alright? And she goes, yep. And that's the end of that scene. So yes, Bumblebee 2018, confirmed for delightful. I had a really good time. I mean, in the broader sense, it's not a masterpiece of cinema, you know, it's not Citizen Kane, but it's relevant to my interests and it's a bloody good time. As a Transformers fan, I adored it. It gets Transformers right, it doesn't turn your brain into shit, and it made me happy. I got to see the things on screen that I wanted to see since I was 6. Cybertron and all that good stuff in a film at the movies. So from that angle, it made me as happy as it possibly could. But like, as a movie, I enjoyed it exactly as much as I enjoyed Ant-Man 2. Like, it is difficult to think of this movie in terms other than as a Transformers movie. You do automatically compare it to the Michael Bay films, because it is one of them. He's credited as a producer. He's still involved. It's still one of those films. But, I mean, it is and it isn't. It's a total refresh. It's so much nicer to watch. I saw it twice on the day, and I'd happily watch it again right now. What's next? So yes, the big question is, what are they gonna do next? I don't care. I feel like I've heard rumours of there being an Optimus Prime movie, And like that is kind of set up in this one, but not in a big way. I mean, they did leave it with a sequel hook, but like nothing super specific. Just broadly, there will be another one. And I don't care what it is, as long as it's good. If it's 60% as good as this, I'll be satisfied. You're gonna tie in G.I. Joe? I don't care. Just maybe do 2 more and then leave it. I'm fine. How long have we been on? Are we finished? I think we might be finished. Anyway, yes, it's good. So yes, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed Bumblebee just as much as I did, if not more. I've been Thew, thanks for watching, and I'll be back very soon with more stuff on the Tube of You. Peace!
Be sure to subscribe for more Thew's awesome Transformers reviews. Limited appeal, keeping it real.